Commanders fans, let's get into it. Before we dive into this exclusive breakdown, let me start by saying this. Your Washington Commanders are a team that refuses to stay stagnant. Every single week, every single practice, the mission is clear. Get sharper, get stronger, and find every possible edge to bring home wins in 2025. And right here at Commanders HQ, we bring you the inside scoop, the kind of talk you won't hear anywhere else. So if you believe in what this team is building and want to stay locked in on all the big storylines, go ahead and hit that like button right now. It helps us a ton, and it shows YouTube that Commanders Nation is alive and thriving. And of course, if you're new here, make sure to subscribe so you never miss a single update. All right, let's get into today's news, because this one has layers. On one hand, we're talking about a golden opportunity for Washington to steal a young, rising pass rusher right out of a division rival's backyard. And on the other, we're talking about Debo Samuel's evolving role, a role that could make this offense one of the hardest to defend in the entire NFL. Let's start with the pass rush. We all know Dan Quinn is leaning on a couple of veterans, Von Miller and Jacob Martin, to generate pressure in 2025. On paper, that makes sense. Miller is a future Hall of Famer, and Martin has shown flashes over the years. But here's the reality. Miller is 36. Martin is 29. Both are on one-year deals. This isn't the future. This is a stopgap. And here's where Adam Peters comes in. The Commanders' general manager has been aggressive since the day he walked in the door. He's traded for stars, built around Jaden Daniels, and shown he's not afraid to make bold moves. Well, now he's got another chance, one that not only strengthens Washington, but weakens the Philadelphia Eagles at the same time. The name? Antwan Powell-Ryland. Drafted in the 6th round by Philly, Powell-Ryland didn't make their 53-man roster. The Eagles, of course, tried to stash him on their practice squad, something they've done for years with talented but raw linemen. But here's the thing. Powell-Ryland isn't just some project. At Virginia Tech, he was a production machine. Over his final 2 seasons, he led the entire FBS with 25.5 sacks. Let that sink in. More sacks than anyone in college football during that span. Now, he's 6'3", 258 pounds, not the prototype when it comes to length or measurables, but turn on the tape and you'll see a guy with an advanced bag of moves, great get-off, and the ability to knife through gaps that bigger linemen can't handle. He's disruptive, he's hungry, and he's exactly the type of young edge presence this defense needs. Right now, Javonte Jean-Baptiste is the only young pass rusher on the roster. You add Powell-Ryland to the mix, and suddenly, you've got some insurance for the future and maybe even an impact player this season. And let's be real, stealing him from Philly? That's just the cherry on top. Washington has some roster flexibility with 3 quarterbacks and 7 linebackers currently on the 53. There's room to make this move. And honestly, this is one of those situations where a savvy GM takes advantage. Peters could patch a hole, add youth to the pass rush, and throw a wrench in the Eagles' long-term plans in one swoop. Now let's flip to the offense, because this storyline is just as fascinating. Debo Samuel, one of the league's most versatile playmakers, is officially a Washington Commander. And folks, ESPN insider Dan Graziano just dropped a nugget that has everyone talking. Don't be surprised if Debo gets some real work at running back this season. Think about that for a second. Washington already has Terry McLaurin as its established number 1, Luke McCaffrey coming along as a reliable option, Zach Ertz as a veteran tight end, and a backfield led by Austin Eckler with rookie Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt waiting in the wings. Adding Debo to that mix doesn't just give Jaden Daniels another target, it changes the entire shape of the offense. We've seen this before. Back in 2021 with San Francisco, Debo wasn't just catching passes. He was taking handoffs, pounding the ball inside, running sweeps, and basically becoming a second running back when injuries hit the 49ers. At one point, he was getting 6 or 7 carries a game and putting up touchdowns like a feature back. Now, Graziano doesn't think it'll be quite that heavy in Washington, but here's the key. The coaching staff does want to get Debo touches out of the backfield. They know how dangerous he is when he's got the ball in his hands. And here's where it gets even more interesting. Wes Welker. Now a personnel analyst in Washington, was Debo's receivers coach in San Francisco for the first 3 years of his career. He knows how to use him. He knows how to put him in positions to thrive. And you better believe he'll be whispering in the ear of Cliff Kingsbury and Dan Quinn about how to unlock every ounce of Debo's talent. Over 6 seasons, Debo already has 202 rushes for 1,143 yards and 20 touchdowns. That's not just a gadget player. That's legitimate production. And with Brian Robinson Jr. now in San Francisco, Washington's running back room isn't exactly stacked with proven depth. Eckler is a great dual-threat back, but he's 30. Krosky Merritt is unproven. Jeremy McNichols and Chris Rodriguez Jr. aren't striking fear into defenses. So why not get creative? Why not let Debo line up in the backfield on certain downs, force defenses to guess, and create mismatches all over the field? With Jaden Daniels' mobility, McLaurin stretching the field, and Debo lining up anywhere from the slot to the backfield, defenses won't know what's coming. Now, here's what makes this so exciting. On defense, you have a chance to add a young, hungry pass rusher from your biggest rival. On offense, you have a chance to weaponize one of the most versatile players in the football. These aren't just small tweaks. They're the type of chess moves that elevate a team from playoff hopeful to true contender. Think about what we've been saying since the offseason. The Commanders are building for now and the future. Von Miller and Jacob Martin might give you veteran pass rush this year, but Powell Ryland could be the spark that grows into a long-term answer. Meanwhile, Debo's hybrid role doesn't just give Daniels help now, it sets the tone for an offense that can morph and adapt to any defense it faces. This is how championship teams are built, by finding value where others overlook it and by maximizing the unique talents of their stars. The Washington Commanders are heading into year 2 of the Dan Quinn era, and one thing is becoming crystal clear. This team is not just chasing wins, it's building a foundation that can last. Quinn has been open about the biggest lesson he's bringing into his second season, and it's something that sets the tone for the entire franchise, a military-inspired after-action process. For those unfamiliar, that's essentially a structured reflection period after every battle, or in this case, after every game, every practice, and every season. What went right, what went wrong, what stays, and what changes. Quinn says this process has shaped not only how he coaches, but how the Commanders prepare day in and day out.
He explained it like this. I really lean in, and you'll appreciate this from the military side, is the after actions. What did I like? What did we need to do differently? What needs to stay the same? That's powerful stuff. And it's not just talk. You can already see the adjustments taking shape. Training camp looked noticeably different this year. Individual sessions ran longer, allowing players more time to fine-tune their craft. Conditioning was ramped up, and players walked away sharper, faster, and better prepared. The results have been noticeable. The team's in better shape, practices are more efficient, and the players feel like they're getting more out of every rep. And the best part, Quinn treats each camp like a blueprint for the next one. He said, I just finished this year's of things I liked, so that'll go into the drawer and be ready for 26. That's how you build consistency. That's how you build culture, by learning, stacking growth year over year, and refusing to stand still. But Quinn isn't the only one shaping this team's identity. On the offensive side, one man continues to prove why he's not just the heart of this franchise, but its standard bearer, Terry McLaurin. After months of speculation, negotiations, and even frustration, the Commanders and McLaurin finally got a contract extension done. It was a battle of patience and persistence, but as soon as the ink dried, Terry wasted no time reminding everyone exactly who he is. Back on the field, he instantly reestablished himself as the team's alpha receiver. Despite missing months of practice, McLaurin kept himself in peak condition. The chemistry with Jaden Daniels, still intact. The dominance against opposing corners, still there. It didn't take long for number 17 to look like the same game-changing wideout who's been the cornerstone of this offense for years. But what's even more impressive than his production is his leadership. McLaurin isn't just here to put up numbers, he's here to elevate the entire wide receiver room. He's mentoring younger guys like Jalen Lane, Luke McCaffrey, Ja'Cory Brooks, and Jacoby Jones. He's challenging them, guiding them, making sure they understand the physicality and the mindset it takes to succeed at this level. He put it perfectly. As an outside receiver, winning physically is important because you're going to get a lot more press. His ability just to continue to be hungry and be a sponge and ask all the questions, I'm going to continue to try to help him as much as I can, along with Luke, Ja'Cory, Jacoby. Chris Moore is a great guy in our room. Just all the guys we have in our room are amazing. That, right there, is Terry McLaurin. He's not just about himself, he's about the collective. And that's why Commanders fans love him. He's the type of player who sets the tone not just on Sundays, but every day of the week. Now, when you combine Quinn's reflective process with McLaurin's selfless leadership, what do you get? You get a team that isn't just relying on talent or flashy moves. You get a team that's grounded in discipline, accountability, and culture. And those are the kinds of traits that turn good teams into great ones. Think about it. Quinn is essentially giving his players a roadmap on how to grow, and McLaurin is showing them what that looks like in practice. Young players are benefiting on both ends. They're getting more reps, more individualized coaching, and then in the locker room, they've got one of the league's best receivers pouring into them. That's how you speed up development. And for Jaden Daniels, this is huge. Last year, he stunned the league by leading Washington all the way to the NFC Championship game. Now, in year 2, he's got more experience, more trust in his coaches, and the same top target he's always had in McLaurin. That's the kind of continuity that quarterbacks dream of. Of course, challenges still lie ahead. The Commanders have a tough schedule, expectations are sky high, and they're navigating life as one of the NFL's most talked about teams. But instead of shying away from that pressure, Quinn and McLaurin are embracing it, each in their own way. Quinn with his disciplined structure, McLaurin with his team-first leadership. And here's where it all comes together for us as fans. This is what we've been waiting for. For years, Washington has been searching for the right formula, the right coach, the right quarterback, the right culture. Now, for the first time in a long time, it feels like all 3 pieces are in place. So, Commanders fans, here's where I throw it back to you. Would you take the gamble on Antoine Powell-Ryland, pulling him off the Eagles practice squad and giving this defense a jolt of youth and energy? And what about Debo Samuel? Do you want to see him getting carries out of the backfield, or should the team protect his health and keep him primarily as a receiver? These are the big-time questions that could define Washington's 2025 season. Drop your thoughts in the comments below because I want to hear from you. And before you head out, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to Commanders HQ, and share this video with your fellow Washington fans. We're building something special here, just like the Commanders are building on the field. This is your home for everything burgundy and gold. This is Commanders HQ, and we'll see you on the next one.